Hello, and my name is Drew, and in today's video I would like to show you how to make a Minecraft Forge plugin of sorts. Now there are a few things you'll need for this tutorial series. You'll need a basic understanding of the Java programming language, and you'll have to have a rough idea how to download and install simple programs. So the way that this started was I had a bucket plugin, but because you cannot have both bucket plugins on a Forge server, I decided to convert my plugin into a Forge server-based mod. And I found almost no tutorials on this subject, so I thought I would make a video on this subject. So something you'll need is this program right here, which is called Forge Mod Builder. It's just such an easy way to build and create mod environments, mod building environments. So you can either Google like Forge Mod Builder and go to this guy's GitHub. He makes this is just a fantastic piece of software. So you just find that, and you'll probably want an IDE or integrated development environment for Java. I like Eclipse. You can also use something called NetBeans, I believe, which is also a good program. Those are the only two I believe that will actually work with this. So let's launch Forge Mod Builder. And so when you have this, you'll click either here, new project, or file new project. And it'll ask you for basic information. We'll be building it for the latest version of Minecraft and the latest version of Forge for that version of Minecraft, just so it's compatible with most, I guess. Well, actually, let's put it down to the recommended. I believe right now is around here. Let's just make it this version. So project name, we're going to, I have a warp plugin for Bucket that I use a lot on my servers, and I want to transfer that to a mod. So let's say type warp mod, sure. And project name, this is kind of just project group name. This is just your, I mean, you can use your Minecraft username, I suppose. I'm gonna call it a Blue Chase project. That's just what I call all of my programming projects. We'll want to put it in 1.8, which is one of the latest versions that Minecraft will run on without error. And then the project version, this is the version of your mod. So let's call it something like 0.1, I guess. That works, because it's the first version. And then you'll click create, and then you'll have to choose a location. I have mine on my third hard drive. So let's go to that hard drive, then under workspaces, Minecraft modding. As you see, I already have made this mod, but I can type warp mod and create it in there, and then project successfully loaded. And yes, you would like to set up. Now here is where you would okay, so it's IntelliJ, not real. So this is where you would choose, you can either use IntelliJ or Eclipse. I'm using Eclipse, and it'll build the workspace. And this is just a lot easier way of doing it. because previously, before this, you would actually have to run several commands. After the first time doing this, it'll be a lot faster because the first time it actually has to download and install Gradle. And yeah, every other time after that, it should be fine. Or faster. So as you can see, it's downloading Gradle dependencies, but because I had already done so, it's skipping all that information. Now here it's downloading MCP or Minecraft Coders Pack stuff. It's downloading the server and client jars, and it's extracting them, and then it's deobfuscating them or making them readable. Because if you didn't know, Minecraft jars are obfuscated, which means they just randomize the class names and stuff, so they can't be recompiled without the key to recompile them. Okay, and here's one of the last steps where it's just compiling all of the assets that it's gathered. And if you open up your file explorer, let's go to this PC, and you go to the hard drive where you had everything, and then it'd be in here, and you should see a folder called Eclipse, and it should be fairly empty. You may see this folder if you have hidden items. Well, maybe it's not a hidden item, but okay, so if you see build successful, didn't take too long. This will also depend on your internet speed, how long it takes. If you're not done yet, you can just pause the video and return when it's done, but I am going to continue. So you want to grab the path to this, so mine's on my D drive under workspaces, Minecraft modding, and then tutorial, and then you want to grab it inside the Eclipse folder. Then you'll want to open up Eclipse. I'm using Neon just because I like this version. And you'll want to paste it in. You can also just click browse here, but I really don't like this free version of that. Don't click this because it's kind of a pain in the ass if you don't want to use this directory. You won't want to use this directory forever. And this is probably going to be just one long video. I may cut it up if it becomes too long. I feel like Eclipse. I think Eclipse just crashed. So let's relaunch it. Okay. Wait for everything to load, and there we go. Okay, now I'm just going to make this look appropriate. I'm going to use the default Java look I'm used to. Okay, I want to put in dark mode, so it's like appearances. Dark mode, apply, and let's go file, import. Then I have a custom is it? Yeah. Okay, that I have in my there. Import all, and this just gives it like a nice look. And then to fix some graphical issues, I will restart the workspace. I still have that in my paste bin. Okay, when it's restarted, that down, and you can rename this. I'm not going to. And you also can make it, so if you go to your run configuration under arguments for the client, I don't know why I have so many of these, you can set the program arguments like username is mine and the password, which is something. You can set that up and log into your username and stuff, which I will do over here. Okay, that's all set. And then you can delete the example mod here. It will be probably just creating some commands, just because this is a plugin turned into mod kind of thing. So it should be fine. Okay, so for the package, you'll want to call it, the standard is by website name. Domain first, and domain name after. So it'd be something like com dot your site dot, and then whatever. Mine's tk.dc dot Minecraft dot tutorial, I suppose. It's just so it can't get when Java runs it, it doesn't get confused on what it's running. Okay, so for the name, standard for the main class, I should call it main. Okay, when it opens, at the very top, you want to type @mod, then import that event by doing Control Shift and O. I'll try to explain all the shortcuts I use. And then inside here, you'll want to set, because this isn't going to be too big, we're not going to create a separate class to hold all of our string variables. So for the mod ID, you want to set that as something, so I'll set it to touch. And this has to be all lowercase and no spaces. Because it's the mod ID. So touch warp mod, and then the next one will be the actual mod name. So this will be the one that's actually shown. Spaces. So we can call this tutorial warp mod, and this can be literally anything. It's just what your mod is seen and to be humanized, I guess. So this is what Minecraft will see, and this is what your user will see. Okay, then the version. This is the version. This can be anything, but let's just keep it to what we specified in Forge Mod Builder. And then, because this is essentially a bucket plugin, we're going to set the acceptable remote version to all. So put the wildcard in there. You're like, I spelled that wrong, and I did. acceptable for both versions. Okay. Control F, Control S, Control Shift F. That's to format. And then in here, we'll do @instance just in case. Public static void. Nope. Main instance. Control Shift O, Control Shift S. This just makes it so we can access the items of the main class as a static method without it having to be a static method. That kind of thing. So yeah. Now we're going to initialize the server register. So let's do at event handler. We don't need a priority, so then we'll do public static void server init, and then this will be an FML forge mod loader server. Haha, I can't type. Server. You can do a control space and then starting event, and we'll call it event. And then we'll create a new class to handle all of our registries. We'll also want to import this by either hovering over it or again doing Control Shift O. So we'll call this class registry handler, and then it'll have a method called server registries. Okay, and then we'll pass in an event. Okay, now let's hover over this and don't import this, but create class registry handler. We'll put that into a package called handlers. In this class, we will have a we'll have a method called public static void server this. Sorry, let's type it, and it'll have the same thing: server starting event. Import it with Control Shift O, Control Shift S to save all. Then in here you'll want to register your command, which you could also do it here, but just for cleanliness, I'm gonna put event.register server command, and then in here we'll put the class that we'll be using. So new warp command, and then we'll create that class. Yep. We'll put this under commands like so, and then there's all of this. You can use Control D to delete a line. And then in here, we'll do some necessary stuff. So get name, this will be like what you'll have to type, like / whatever. So if it was like the give command, it would be / give, so the name would be give. Because this is warp, we'll use warp. And then we'll have to create an alias, so up here, we'll do private static list of string, and we'll call this aliases equals arrays.addList. Like so, and this imported the wrong thing. It imported it from that one. You want it to be in from java.util. Anyway, arrays.addList, and this is like the other names that it can use. So you can use something like tpx, or I don't know, like you could use the mod ID, so main.instance. Oh, we don't have that actually as a variable, so let's just say tut warp mod, sure. So that works. Okay. And then here, instead of returning null, we'll return aliases. Okay, then get usage. I like to just have this standard, like type warp help. Let's use a backslash, then quote, so the quotes don't get interrupted with this. And then to get more info, sure, something like that. That's if the executor throws an exception. Okay, does it need permissions? No, it does not. So this returns true if you're allowed to use it, that kind of thing. So if you were to, example, want to add permissions here, like if sender had permission to use something, then you would return true or false if they had permission, that kind of thing. But that is it. Okay, so let's scroll to the very bottom to add my own thing. Actually, let's organize this just a little bit. I want the stuff that I'm going to be using most often be at the top. So let's use the alt. That, okay. So stuff I'm using all the time at the top, and stuff I will never use, or don't have to use again, at the bottom. So all of this stuff is good, but sadly it is needed by that. Okay. So right here, let's create some space, and let's create some methods. So first, we'll want to initialize the player variable. So let's go up here, private entity player, and that's going to be null for now. And then here we'll create a getter and setter for player. So public, it doesn't need to be static, so public void set player. And then in here we'll put a entity player, let's just call it value. Okay, so you just don't get confused. So this dot player equals value. There, that's initializing the player. And then public entity player get player. This will return this dot player. I will be right back. Alright, I'm back. Okay, so now that we get the player and we set the player, let's see if the world is remote. So if the world is remote, you won't be able to do things like send messages to the player and a lot of stuff like that. It'll actually cause it to crash. So you'll have to do a public boolean is remote, and this will return get player dot entity world, get entity world dot is remote. Okay. Okay, also, when we get the player, we want to make sure if, so if player equals null, does not equal null, return this, or, but if it does not, then we don't want it to crash, so we will set player to new entity player. Okay, do this. You can initialize it. So we just won't return anything, I guess. Return new entity here. That's not gonna work either. Sure. Just return null. But yeah, anyway. We'll fix a lot of this later. Okay, so in here, we'll return if the world is remote. Okay. So, okay, now up into the execute command. We'll say if sender instance. Damn it. If sender is an instance of entity player, basically saying if the person sending the command is a player, then do that else, which means it is either a command block